It's unclear what the XR Super Series will look like next year, if it will even exist in 2025. The latest post from promoter Barry Braun indicates that it might not even be around. Roll this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below if you'd like to read for yourself. But Braun posted this to Facebook. He said, had a day off, then this happened. 2025 plans are wide open at this time. The Big Deal and Pennsboro are the only guaranteed gigs. Never know, might do weekly races. In the accompanying video, he revealed he was doing a soil sample at Hibbing Raceway in Minnesota ahead of the track going up for auction. He said, this track's up for a bid. Not saying we're going to make a bid. We're just doing our homework. Track is obviously the most important. As you can see here, she's a nice little, well, they say 3/8 mile. Looks like a bull ring. Got some drainage problems here. If you look close enough, there's plenty of rock up in this situation. He later added she would need some infrastructure improvements, a lot of work, a lot of paint to be a viable weekly entity or a viable track, period. But we'll look at it and see if it's possible, if it's something that can fit into our deal and go from there. Maybe we'll take it over. Maybe we won't. So he posted that to Facebook. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but the fact that he says that the Big Deal and Pennsboro are the only guaranteed gigs, that seems to heavily imply that the XR Super Series is unlikely to return. Obviously, the Big Deal isn't even a late model race. This is a modified race. Pennsboro, they did have the one late model race there at the end of the season or towards the end of the season. We do know that he said he was working on the Duel in the Desert as well. So he had this big post here where he says that he was working on a Duel in the Desert for 2025. He says 2025 Duel in the Desert dates will come soon enough. If you heard differently, you listened to the wrong people. Our staff is awesome. But again, that's also not a late model race either. That is a modified race for the most part. Obviously, there were a bunch of different classes as well, but I think the modifieds were the top of that ticket. So really unclear what's going on with the XR Super Series, with the XR events. Not really getting any kind of confirmation from Barry here, leaving up to a lot of speculation. But I don't know. I think it sounds like it's not going to be happening in 2025. The fact that he's only saying the Big Deal and Pennsboro are the only guaranteed gigs so far. We know that the series began in 2022. I think it had 22 races, if their website is accurate, which I'm not really sure that it is, because there's some discrepancies that I've seen based on some of their news reporting, and then how many races that they raced. Jonathan Davenport won the championship that year. Then in 2023, last year, they only had a limited schedule. It looked like they just had 6 races, and I think they only had 5. I was reading a news report. It said only 5 total full field races, I guess, but it did say that Bobby Pierce beat Ricky Thornton Jr. and he competed in 6 races. So I don't know if there was like a really small event where there was like, I don't know, 8 cars or something like that. Unclear what was going on there. So if you know, let me know in the comments. And then finally, this past year, the series expanded back to 13 races total and saw Bobby Pierce beat Devin Moran and Tyler Erb to become the champion. The series originally had 22 events on its schedule, according to a post in February to its now inactive account on X. I thought that was also interesting too. You look up XR Super Series, you look up XR events. All of these social media accounts are seemingly inactive. Looks like all of their kind of promotion is being done on Facebook through their XR Plus account. And I guess there's some stuff happening on the XR Super Series account on Facebook, but over on X, there's almost absolutely nothing happening over there. All the accounts are inactive. So I'm not really sure what that means. This is the last post they made in 2024 here, was in February, saying that they were going to have 22 events in 2024. Again, I think they ended up only having 13 with Bobby Pierce, I think the only one who competed in all of the events, at least for the actual championship. I think there were some events that might have been outside of that championship that they sanctioned. Also, I do want to point this out. Braun was anticipating that the series would continue to at least a 5th season. So obviously 2024 is only the 3rd season, then beginning in 2022. So 2025 would be the 4th season. The 5th season would be in 2026. This is what he told XR Events, that he hopes that the series would be a collection of the largest events in the entire industry by its 5th year. So he obviously had big plans for the series at the beginning of the year that it would continue on into 2025 and 2026. But all indications right now looks like it might not be happening. Again, this is coming from Braun himself saying that the only things guaranteed for 2025 are the big deal and Pennsboro, the big deal being a modified race primarily, and Pennsboro being the where they race the supers at the end of this year. He just basically relaunched that track. And then obviously he's talking about potentially buying this track, Hibbing Raceway up in Minnesota, as it's up for auction. And that could potentially be where he does weekly racing or something to that effect. So definitely a lot of things seemingly up in the air for the XR Super Series. And time will tell whether or not it will continue next year and whether or not we get an update from Barry Braun letting us know what is going to be happening for this series. I know from the footage I've seen from it, I think they have absolutely some of the best production quality of any of the Super Dirt Late Model series out there. They've really upped their game. And I love all of the camera angles and everything that they are able to do. So it would be a shame for this series to go away. They also have some of the best purses, etc. And they go to a lot of different tracks too. And they usually put on some fantastic shows. So hopefully it does not go away. Barry Braun's able to get something put together, and we get a solid schedule for 2025. And he continues to kind of provide the excellent product, the excellent racing product at all of these interesting tracks that he has done over the past couple of years. But let me know what you guys make of what Barry Braun had to say here. Let me know in the comments below.